On the day of the engagement party, my boyfriend's entire family came. After exchanging rings, my boyfriend leaned in to kiss me. Before his lips even touched my cheek, his little niece suddenly burst into tears. "Don't kiss that bad woman." Even his sister-in-law looked like she was about to cry, kissing in front of a child. Is she that desperate? Doing that kind of thing in public? My boyfriend immediately pushed me away, picked up his niece, and gently comforted his sister-in-law. The MC was quite embarrassed, and the faces of the relatives present were also very unpleasant. Kissing wasn't a necessary ritual, but the way my boyfriend did it made the woman look bad, especially with my family there. My parents couldn't help but question my boyfriend. But my boyfriend, after a 10-year relationship, demanded that the engagement party end immediately because of it. Sarah and Tiffany can't accept me doing this. If you insist on going against them, then let's just cancel the engagement party. The once lively engagement party fell silent. Everyone's surprised gazes focused on Sarah and her daughter, Tiffany Foster. Does she have no sense of decency? Kissing in front of a minor in broad daylight? How shameless can you be? Sarah covered Tiffany Foster's eyes, roared at me, and looked at me like she wanted to devour me. Oh, Tiffany's mom, Rose, and David Foster are engaged, and this is an engagement party. It's normal for the couple to be affectionate. Tiffany is still young, you need to explain it to her, my mom said, forcing a smile to smooth things over. I don't want to. Dad can't kiss the bad woman, or I'll run away from home. Tiffany Foster struggled out of Sarah Evans' arms, hands on her hips, with an expression exactly like Sarah Evans. I frowned at David Foster, wanting him to stop the mother and daughter. But he looked at Sarah Evans and Tiffany Foster with loving eyes, and then pushed me away. I staggered backward, my waist hitting the champagne towel. Our ear-piercing pain struck, and before I could steady myself, dozens of champagne glasses, full of champagne, fell to the ground and shattered. My red cocktail dress was instantly soaked in champagne. My heart sank as if falling into quicksand. Rose, are you okay? My mom quickly helped me up. Luckily, only close relatives and friends came today. Your dress is wet and the champagne tower is down. If this happened on the wedding day, it would be a big joke. I was supposed to be the most eye-catching protagonist at the engagement party, but I was a mess. Everyone came forward to ask if I was hurt and took off their coats to put them on me. On the other hand, David Foster was just holding Tiffany Foster, whispering to comfort Sarah Evans, "Don't be angry, if you and Tiffany don't like it, I won't kiss her." What about at the wedding? Sarah Evans fed, pouting and complaining. When the MC asks the groom to kiss the bride at the wedding, you're not allowed to kiss either. Tiffany Foster heard this and covered David Foster's mouth with both hands. Don't kiss the bad woman. Dad's not allowed to kiss the bad woman. Not allowed to kiss me? Are we having a platonic marriage? I might as well find a girlfriend to live with. David Foster wasn't angry at all. Instead, he lovingly took Tiffany Foster's little hand and kissed it. Okay, I'll listen to Tiffany and Mom. Tiffany Foster cheered immediately and made a face at me. Sarah Evans also looked smug. I always knew that David Foster had a niece, said to be the posthumous child of his deceased twin brother. He often said that he took his brother's nutrition before birth, causing his brother to be weak and sick from birth. In this life, he owed his brother, so he would take good care of his brother's wife and daughter. But I didn't expect this to be how he took care of them. Letting his niece call him dad? Indulging his sister-in-law and niece without limits? Seeing that the atmosphere was not right, the Foster parents quickly explained, "In-laws, our eldest son had a hard life and only left behind this little bit of blood. It's inevitable that we spoil them a little, please don't mind it." Now that things had been said to this point, continuing to make a fuss would mean going against the deceased older brother. My parents sighed, endured their displeasure, and signaled the MC to warm up the atmosphere so that I could change into a new dress and continue the engagement ceremony. I looked at David Foster, his heart and eyes only on Sarah Evans and her daughter, ignoring my embarrassment and pain. My heart sank to the bottom of the lake, and the last bit of hope vanished. After changing into a new dress, the MC cleared his throat and announced that the ceremony would continue. Unexpectedly, Sarah Evans took Tiffany Foster by the hand and stepped onto the stage first. My mother-in-law was a little embarrassed and hurried forward, gently asking her to come down. The ceremony is about to begin. What are you doing up there? Tiffany Foster shook off her grandma's hand and said unhappily, I haven't attended Dad and Mom's engagement party yet. Sarah Evans smiled and stroked her little head. David Foster's brother passed away early, and we didn't have an engagement party either. It's always been a regret. We can take this opportunity to make up for it. Grandma won't object, right? The whole place fell silent. Sarah Evans meant to have David Foster replace his brother and get engaged to her? This wasn't making up for a regret at all. It was simply a joke. It was already absurd for a niece to call her uncle Dad. Now Sarah Evans wanted to get engaged to David Foster. This messy relationship was completely inexplicable. I looked straight at David Foster, wanting him to state his position. But he was already on stage with a tender expression, squatting down to be at the same height as Tiffany Foster. Okay, Dad will satisfy whatever Tiffany wants. It's just simulating an engagement ceremony. It's a small matter. As he said that, he met my eyes. My brother passed away early. I'll go through the ceremony for him. Rose won't be angry, right? The last sentence seemed to be asking for my consent, but it was actually a notification. David Foster had mentioned many times to take care of his widowed sister-in-law and niece, and I had also agreed to work with him to manage our family relationships well. After all, in our generation, there are few siblings, and I'm happy to have 2 more family members. But I didn't expect his sister-in-law and niece to have so little sense of boundaries. I didn't say anything with a sullen face. And Sarah Evans had already snatched the microphone from the MC and announced loudly, welcome all relatives and friends to attend the engagement party of me and Tiffany's dad. As soon as these words came out, the room erupted. Relatives started gossiping. Tiffany's dad? What does that mean? I thought it was strange when the little girl kept calling the groom dad. Could this child be the groom's? Are they changing the bride temporarily? Is this a skit? What's going on with the Foster parents? The sister-in-law and uncle are having an affair. It's too outrageous. My parents' faces were extremely bad. Their faces were livid and they didn't say a word. I bit my lip hard and asked him, David Foster, can you tell me, who are you getting engaged to today? Of course it's with. David Foster hadn't finished speaking when he was interrupted. You're not allowed to make things difficult for my dad, you bad woman. Tiffany Foster pointed her finger at me. Dad is of course engaged to my mom. You're so ugly, and you have such a small butt. Grandma said you're a barren hen. Why should you have my dad? With a bang, my mind went blank. Immediately afterward, a landslide of anger swept over me. I coldly swept over David Foster and the Foster parents, who were extremely embarrassed. Is this how the Foster parents do things? Do you want David Foster to be marrying both a widow and her daughter? Is that it? Don't talk nonsense. What do you mean marrying both a widow and her daughter? That's my brother's wife and daughter. My brother is gone. As blood relatives, what's wrong with us taking care of his widow? Seeing that the relatives were starting to accuse the Foster parents, David Foster hurriedly explained. My mother-in-law instead blamed me. That's right, Rose. Tiffany is just a little girl who doesn't understand and thinks she's playing house. You're such a grown-up. Why are you still arguing with a child? I was about to get angry. Sarah Evans came down from the stage and knelt in front of me, crying with pearly tears. I'm sorry, sister-in-law. I just miss David Foster's brother so much. I didn't expect it to make you misunderstand. Don't be upset because of this. She pulled Tiffany Foster over and scolded her. It's all your fault for being ignorant. You made your aunt unhappy. Kneel down and apologize. Tiffany Foster burst into tears. I was shocked by this performance. My parents quickly helped Sarah Evans up. What a mess. It's not that serious. Since it's a misunderstanding, just explain it clearly. My parents and I exchanged glances, understanding. Originally, no matter how you looked at it, the Foster parents were in the wrong and should be condemned. But with Sarah Evans and Tiffany Foster kneeling like this, if I continued to be unrelenting, I would become the unmarried sister-in-law forcing a widow and her little niece. I would be the one people would point fingers at. Okay, let's go see the new house. An observant relative changed the subject and suggested skipping this part. Surrounded by relatives and friends, we soon arrived at the new house prepared by the Foster parents. What was eye-opening was that as soon as we entered, the house was filled with photos. Not photos of David Foster and Sarah Evans and her daughter, but solo photos of Sarah Evans and Tiffany Foster. The most outrageous thing was that in the very center of the living room, there was a wedding photo of David Foster and Sarah Evans. I almost laughed out of anger. Pointing to the decorations in the house, I asked David Foster, "What about these? How do you explain these?" "David Foster, tell me, whose new house is this? Why are you bad woman, questioning my dad?" Tiffany Foster was held by Sarah Evans, waving her hands and shouting, "This is my and Dad and Mom's house. Of course we have to put up our photos." Dad said, "In our own house, Tiffany and Mom can decorate however they want." David Foster's ears turned red, and he seemed very guilty. He only said that he would take care of his sister-in-law and niece, but he never told me that they would move in. And these decorations made it seem like they were a family of 3, and I was the extra person. But he quickly followed Tiffany Foster's words and said, "Tiffany is the only heir of the Foster parents, and of course will agree to whatever she wants. Besides, it's just a few photos, you as an aunt, don't be so petty." The more he said, the more confident he became, and he even began to aim the spearhead at me. What a talent for sophistry. A sister-in-law and niece who were occupying the nest, parents-in-law and a fiancé who couldn't tell right from wrong. The Foster parents were just a family of weirdos. I nodded with a sneer, "Okay, should I also give up the master bedroom for you, so your family of 3 can live there?" David Foster's face changed, and he frowned as if to say something. "Mom, what is this?" A childish voice came. 2 little boys came running out of the master bedroom, one of them holding a pink lace bra with very little fabric, instantly becoming the focus of the room. Everyone blushed, and some of the older relatives turned their faces away, unable to bear to look directly. "Rose, you should put away these young people's little pleasures, right?" My face turned pale, like a bolt from the blue. The wedding home was chosen by the Foster parents, and I never participated in the decoration or any other matters, let alone came in to decorate in advance. David Foster kept saying that he was afraid of tiring me, but it turned out that it was to let Sarah Evans and her daughter move in first, and even occupied the master bedroom. I looked at him in disbelief. Whose children are these? So ill-mannered? Sarah Evans angrily snatched the bra and pushed the little boy. Seeing everyone looking at her with different expressions, she blushed. "This is someone else's thing. What's so strange about it?" David Foster's brother passed away early, and he promised to take care of me for his brother. What's wrong with him helping me wash my underwear? She gave me a provocative look. David Foster used to help me wash it when he went back to his hometown. He wouldn't forget his sister-in-law just because he got married, would he? "No, I won't." David Foster couldn't wait to assure her. I promised in front of my brother's grave that I would definitely do it. "Don't worry, sister-in-law, I'll wash it for you after the ceremony. I was exhausted. An uncle helping his sister-in-law wash underwear, and it was so natural. Everyone was shocked. I've really lived to see it all. There's actually such a shameless sister-in-law who asks her uncle to help her wash her underwear? That's amazing! It's already outrageous to insist on making up for an engagement ceremony, and now she's directly occupying the nest. What? Is she going to sleep with her uncle in the master bedroom? My relatives were also filled with righteous indignation. The foster parents are really a mess. It sounds good to be taking care of the orphans and widow of the deceased brother, but who knows who the child really belongs to? Hearing this, Sarah Evans flushed, cried, and threw herself into David Foster's arms. Uncle, you said you would protect me. Are you just going to let them bully me like this? Tiffany Foster started crying too when she saw her mom crying. The foster parents squatted down to comfort Tiffany Foster. David Foster also put his arms around Sarah Evans and comforted her. Rose Smith, if your family's gossipy relatives say one more word, I'll sue you for defamation. My head was buzzing with anger, and I retorted, heaven is watching what people do. If the foster parents dare to do it, then don't be afraid of people talking about it. Perhaps I had been too good to David Foster in the past. Suddenly arguing with him in front of outsiders made him lose face. He warned me with a cold face, Rose Smith, we've been together for 10 years. Are you sure you want to be so aggressive and leave no room for maneuver? Speaking of these 10 years, they covered my entire youth. From a pure college girl to a desperate career woman. We supported each other, and it was only in the last 2 years that we had stabilized and planned to get married and have children. I closed my eyes, unwilling to let 10 years of effort go down the drain like this. David Foster, let your sister-in-law and niece move out of our new house. Forcing myself to calm down, I decided to give our 10-year relationship one last chance. We can give them a monthly allowance, and if needed, hire a nanny. What are you saying? David Foster interrupted me sharply. I swore to take care of my brother's wife and children. How can you think of letting them move out? Rose Smith, as the saying goes, when you marry a chicken, follow the chicken. When you marry a dog, follow the dog. Since you've chosen me, you should respect my decision. Since you can't accept it, then cancel the engagement party. When you figure it out and get Sarah and Tiffany's forgiveness, we'll have the engagement party again. Tears fell, and I was completely heartbroken. Okay, they don't have to move, I just won't move in. After saying these words, I turned and left. My parents were trembling with anger, and my relatives were also rolling up their sleeves, wanting to teach David Foster a lesson, but I stopped them. They were in the wrong. But if we fought, both sides would be equally responsible, with each having their own faults. The foster parents are really something. Are they so poor that they can't make ends meet? Are they even going to inherit their daughter-in-law? My relatives mocked a few times and left one after another. The foster parents were jumping and defending themselves behind us. You're just spreading rumors. David Foster and Sarah are innocent. What are you talking about? My parents comforted me. A blessed daughter doesn't enter an unlucky door. It's good to see the foster parents' true colors this time, and it's a timely stop-loss. I nodded, but my heart couldn't stop aching with a dense, prickly pain. After all, we had been together for 10 years, and his shadow was everywhere in my life. How could I let go so easily? I moved out of the apartment I shared with David Foster, cleaning up my traces completely. It was a decent farewell, a show of respect for my 10 years of effort. Unfortunately, David Foster didn't give me that opportunity. The next day after work, I was taken away by the police. Rose Smith, you are suspected of online fundraising fraud. The victims have gathered at the police station. Come with us. I was confused and repeatedly confirmed with the police that someone had used my identity information to commit fraud online. And the IP address of the fraudster was located in Riverdale. Riverdale. David Foster's hometown. I instantly understood that this matter was inextricably linked to the Foster parents. As soon as I got out of the car, rotten bananas and rotten eggs were thrown at me. Bitch! Give us back our hard-earned money. You look so decent, and you said you had a good project to help us make money, but you're a scammer? This kind of person should die. Why are you acting innocent? I'll tear your face off. I couldn't dodge and was hit, my head buzzing. Egg yolk hung in my hair, emitting a foul odor, making me look extremely embarrassed. The police stopped the agitated victims. The facts have not been clarified yet. The suspect may also be a victim. Don't get agitated. Enduring the pain all over my body, I said, the fraudster's location is in Riverdale, and I have been in Fairview and have not left. Before I could finish speaking, David Foster, who had rushed over upon hearing the news, covered my mouth and said to the angry crowd, "She did it. My girlfriend's family has had problems recently and she's desperate for money, so she took the wrong path. She's responsible for her own actions, and I'll make her take responsibility." As he said that, he pulled me aside and whispered angrily, "What are you denying? Do you want the police to investigate your sister-in-law? Tiffany is still so young. What will she do if her mom goes to jail? How am I going to explain this to my brother? Confess quickly. Don't worry, I'll take care of things. As long as you pay the money and spend a few days in jail, this matter will be over. As soon as you get out of prison, we'll get married right away." After saying that, before he could catch his breath, he raised his voice, "Rose Smith, just admit it. Confess properly, and maybe you can still get everyone's forgiveness." Many victims took out their phones to take pictures, and some internet celebrities who had rushed over started live broadcasts. Everyone praised David Foster and belittled me. This guy is very responsible, but he's just unlucky to have found such a morally corrupt scammer. All kinds of vicious curses washed over me like the sea. At the extreme of anger, I calmed down instead. Pressing the record button on my phone, I leaned close to David Foster and whispered a question in his ear. "How did your sister-in-law get my ID card? Also, why would she do something like this?" David Foster was stunned, frowning, and obviously unwilling to answer. I forced myself to endure the disgust and squeezed out a few tears. "Honey, if you don't tell me the truth, how can I willingly take the blame for your sister-in-law?" Seeing that I had loosened up and compromised, David Foster calmed down. He touched his nose, looking a little unnatural. "Didn't you say before that you lost your ID card?" "Actually, you didn't. I took it and gave it to Sarah. But I didn't know she would use your ID card for fraud." As for why she would do this, David Foster sighed, feeling quite guilty. "She did it for Tiffany too. She said she wanted to make a lot of money to buy a good school district house for Tiffany. It's my fault for not considering this. If I had, sigh. It's too late to say anything." I sneered, "It's too late." Under his astonished gaze, I shouted loudly, "Police officers, everyone who has been victimized, I didn't do it. My ex-boyfriend stole my ID card and gave it to his sister-in-law, and not only that, he also wants to protect her and make me take the blame." David Foster was so shocked that his eyes widened, and he roared at me, "Rose Smith, are you setting me up? Are you trying to kill your sister-in-law and Tiffany?" Ignoring his rage, I turned on the recording and turned the volume up to the maximum. The scene immediately exploded. The people who had just been accusing and scolding me instantly turned their anger towards David Foster. How shameless! Stealing his girlfriend's ID card to give to his sister-in-law for fraud. This girl is having the worst luck imaginable meeting such a scumbag. It's good that she broke up with him. What's the relationship between this guy and his sister-in-law? I suggest you investigate. Maybe there's an ulterior secret. Give us back our hard-earned money. You dead scammer, you dead scumbag. If you don't return the money, we'll make trouble at your niece's school." A large number of police officers poured out of the police station to maintain order. David Foster and I were taken into the police station. Before that, the police had already coordinated with the police station in Riverdale to retrieve the surveillance footage from the internet cafe that Sarah Evans used when committing fraud. In the surveillance footage, Sarah Evans was wearing headphones and communicating with someone remotely. Mr. Wilson, don't worry. I, Rose Smith, am still a little famous in the industry. I wouldn't be stupid enough to ruin my own reputation. This project is guaranteed to have at least 3 times the profit, and you'll get your money back in 3 months. And next to her, Tiffany Foster was eating instant noodles and spicy sticks while playing games. Similar scenes occurred every day for 3 whole months. The truth was already clear. At this time, Sarah Evans was also brought to the police station. As soon as she saw me, she started barking at me like a mad dog. Bitch. If I go to jail, I won't spare you. A woman like you is worthy of entering the foster parents' door? David Foster also chimed in. Rose Smith, you've disappointed me so much. You've ruined Sarah and Tiffany's future. How will my family ever forgive you? What are we going to do now? I was completely speechless. After being together for 10 years, I realized for the first time that David Foster would become like an idiot in front of Sarah Evans, completely illogical. I shrugged my shoulders and pointed to the victims gathered outside the door. You should think about how to explain it to the victims. Fear flooded Sarah Evans' eyes, and she cried, David Foster, look at what kind of woman you found. If I go to jail, Tiffany won't be able to take the civil service exam in her life. She's ruined your niece's entire life. If you marry this kind of person, your brother will not rest in peace. David Foster frowned and stared at me, his tone cold. Rose Smith, I'll give you one more chance. Are you all legally blind? The policewoman taking the statement finally couldn't bear it anymore, publicly threatening someone to take the blame in the police station. What do you think the police station is? David Foster swallowed the words he hadn't said, and Sarah Evans also chickened out, hiding behind David Foster with her head down. A week passed, and the case was settled. Sarah Evans used other people's identity information to carry out online fraud, involving more than 100 people, and the amount of the crime reached $5 million, a huge sum. In addition to returning all the money to the victims, Sarah Evans was sentenced to 10 years in prison and had all her property confiscated. The foster parents couldn't accept this result and blamed me. If you had closed your eyes and confessed, Sarah wouldn't be in jail. You viper woman, you caused Tiffany and her mom to be separated. You deserve a terrible death. They ran to my workplace and made a scene, saying that I was of bad character and demanding that the company fire me. David Foster also started a live broadcast to sell his sob story, My life has recently hit rock bottom. My girlfriend, because she couldn't accept me taking care of my deceased brother's wife and daughter, plotted to send my sister-in-law to prison. My niece lost her mom and has cried her eyes out. I really don't know what to do. To be honest, David Foster was quite handsome, and he was also a successful businessman, every inch the elite. In addition, he had been exhausted these past few days, with a scruffy beard, giving him a sense of brokenness. He immediately attracted many people. The more handsome a man is, the easier it is for him to be deceived by a woman. Don't be sad, brother. This woman is too ungrateful. Taking care of the widow of a deceased brother is what he should do. How can she harm people out of jealousy? It's good to see her true colors sooner rather than later. So cheap. This kind of person should be punished. Since the can't punish her, let us netizens do it. The live broadcast room started condemning me in unison and claiming that they would dox me and make me disappear from this world. David Foster pretended to be embarrassed and dissuaded them. Everyone, don't be impulsive. We've been together for 10 years, and I want to part ways amicably, and I also want to give her a chance. As he said that, He called my phone on the spot. Rose, it's me. If you're willing to admit your mistake, we can still start over. I felt inexplicable and hung up directly. It's been 10 years of blindness. If I go back, I'd be stupid. As soon as I blacklisted David Foster's phone number, a colleague who was close to me ran over with a panicked look on her face. Rose, your ex-boyfriend is guiding netizens to cyberbully you. I took the phone and understood instantly. David Foster's phone call just now was intentional. Sure enough, the live stream's popularity exploded. While viewers were yelling about how I was done for, they were also showering David Foster with gifts and virtual rockets. At the same time, the Foster parents caused a scene at my workplace again. My boss, afraid that calling the police would affect the company's stock price, asked me to take them to the conference room for negotiations. The moment I walked in, my would-be mother-in-law started ranting and raving, completely losing it. I poured her a cup of tea and quietly watched her performance. She probably got tired of acting, and since no one was playing along, she couldn't be bothered to keep up the charade. She dusted herself off and glared at me from her chair. My former father-in-law took a pretentious sip of tea and finally revealed their purpose. After all these years, we don't want things to get too ugly, he said. Here's the deal. You compensate us for some of our losses, 10 million, and we'll call it even. We go our separate ways, no hard feelings. Otherwise, with David Foster's current online influence. He didn't finish his sentence, but the threat was clear. I was astonished. 10 million? What gave them the nerve to ask for that? It wasn't that I couldn't come up with it, but it would require me to use all my savings and sell a house. And in this whole situation, I was the real victim. Why should I give them money? I was about to refuse when my boss stormed into the conference room, face dark with anger. Rose, come here for a second. She pulled me into a corner, furious. Your ex-boyfriend's family are scum. She pulled out her phone and sent me a huge document. I had a friend at the police station look into it. Your former sister-in-law has been gambling online and lost 20 million. That's why they thought of using your ID to commit fraud. And they gambled away the money they got from that too. The Fosters put all their business's operating capital into it, but it still wasn't enough to fill the hole, so they decided to target you. I'm going to call security to kick them out the back door and send them straight to the police station. This is infuriating. I finally understood. David Foster was live streaming to make money and, together with the Foster parents, was threatening me through various means, all to pay off Sarah Evans's gambling debts. How noble. Only, they shouldn't have, under any circumstances, treated me like a fish on a chopping board. I called my hacker bestie. Post something for me. I want David Foster to reap what he sows. I didn't want to do this originally, but they were pushing me too far. If I kept putting up with it, I'd just be a pushover. Half an hour later, an article titled "Marrying Both a Widow and Her Daughter?" The story between a sister-in-law and her husband's younger brother went viral. A marriage certificate quickly set all social media platforms ablaze. The netizens, who had been captivated by David Foster's good looks, indignant about his situation, and threatening to teach me a lesson, suddenly realized that Davi D. Foster was already married to the sister-in-law he had been talking about. The internet exploded. The younger brother inherited his older brother's estate and, along with it, his wife? It might not be illegal, but it's still crazy. Wait, so this guy hid the fact that he was married and had a girlfriend of 10 years he almost married? Before the netizens could digest and analyze everything, a video from our engagement party was leaked. Sarah Evans, holding pink lace lingerie, said with a flirtatious look, "David promised to take care of me for his brother's sake. What's wrong with him washing my underwear?" This sentence was adapted into a meme, and Sarah Evans's photo of her holding the underwear was screenshotted and turned into an emoji. OMG? Brother-in-law romance? They're married but pretending to be sister-in-law and brother-in-law in public? Are they trying to spice things up? The key is that this family is hiding the truth. And he was even planning to marry someone else? What, was he trying to commit marriage fraud? I don't think he was trying to commit marriage fraud, since he's already married and can't get another marriage certificate. I think he was after the girl's family fortune, trying to swindle them. The netizens flocked to David Foster's live stream, ready to get the full scoop. David Foster, seeing that the live stream's popularity had instantly shot to first place, couldn't stop grinning, forgetting to even pretend to be sad. However, his happiness lasted less than a minute. He realized that the comment section, which had been so harmonious before, was now full of insults and questions directed at him. Only when he became the target of attack did he suddenly realize how vicious words could tear a person to shreds. His face turned pale, and he hurriedly ended the live stream. After ending the live stream, he opened the trending searches with trembling hands. After reading everything, he collapsed to the ground. He picked up his phone to make a call, but found that I had blacklisted him. He rushed to my workplace to confront me, but was stopped by the receptionist. Helpless, he could only wait downstairs. The internet was too advanced these days. David Foster's little family drama had become a topic for workplace workers to relieve stress. Hey, did you hear about that scandal? The one about the younger brother marrying his brother's widow? Yeah, I heard. OMG, it's so juicy. Let me tell you, there's even more to it than that. My personal affairs were being openly discussed, exaggerated, and even distorted. All sorts of nasty words entered David Foster's ears, word for word. But he could only lower his head, trying to minimize his presence, not daring to confront anyone. He endured it for 3 hours until I finally got off work. He stood up and blocked my path. Rose, I need to talk to you. Come with me for a second. He reached out to grab me, but I dodged him. Seeing him made me sick to my stomach, let alone any physical contact. Say whatever you want right here. Seeing that I was determined, David Foster thought for a moment and then said, "It's not like what's being spread online. Tiffany isn't my daughter, she's my brother's. As for marrying my sister-in-law, it was so Tiffany could have a complete family. I already told my sister-in-law that we'd divorce her before our wedding and then adopt Tiffany under our names. As for my sister-in-law, she can move in and live with us, so she won't be separated from her daughter. Rose, I've arranged everything and considered everyone." Considered everyone? Marry me and have Sarah Evans live with us? Was he trying to have the best of both worlds? I almost laughed out loud. David Foster, I have a friend who's a neurologist. Should I introduce you to them? My colleagues around me were also pointing and gossiping about him. This guy is really out of his mind. What year is this? He's still trying to pull off marrying both a widow and her Ugter? What's even more disgusting is that he's treating his girlfriend like an idiot. A divorced man with a child and a mistress wants to trick her into being a nanny for his family with a few sweet words? David Foster's chest heaved with anger, and his face turned red. He tried to argue a few times, but my colleagues shut him down even more fiercely. Finally, unable to withstand the gossip, he slunk away. After that, he changed several phone numbers to send me messages. Rose, I was wrong. I shouldn't have hidden things from you, but you have to believe me. I only love you. Baby, I can't take it anymore. I was fired and can't find a job. The court ruled that Sarah Evans and I are jointly responsible for the debt. To repay it, my parents' small company has gone bankrupt, and our house is about to be auctioned off. For the sake of our 10-year relationship, please help me. As long as you sell your house and help me this one time, we can start over. I promise I won't hide anything from you again. Looking at these messages, I only felt ridicule. Even now, David Foster still thought we could get back together? I pulled out my SIM card, cut it into pieces, and threw it in the trash. Then, I rushed to the service center to get a new card. The world instantly became much quieter. At the same time, I submitted my application to study abroad. I had worked hard at my current company for many years. My boss had been wanting to promote me and offered me an overseas posting. After returning, I could be promoted 3 levels in a row. Previously, to focus on running a small home with David Foster, I had turned it down without hesitation. In my opinion, promotion opportunities were rare, but my 10-year relationship with David Foster was even more precious. Only, I didn't expect that the love I cherished had already rotted and stunk. Fortunately, the application deadline hadn't passed yet. A week later, my girlfriends threw me a going-away party. After we had our fill of food and drinks, my hacker bestie, who was usually quiet, mentioned David Foster. Your scumbag ex has been trying to smear you everywhere, trying to reverse public opinion. He spent a lot of money hiring people to write hit pieces, but I intercepted them all. Another girlfriend, slurring her words, said, "Nice work, girl. Speaking of which, I saw David's scumbag last night. Guess what? He was making out with a sugar mama who was old enough to be his mother. TSK. He's got some unique tastes." Hearing about David Foster again, my heart was completely unmoved, as if they were talking about an unimportant stranger. The next day, I embarked on my journey abroad. The moment the plane took off, I felt like I was reborn. From then on, everything related to David Foster was a thing of the past. 2 years later, my overseas posting ended, and I was appointed as the company's deputy general manager of marketing, in charge of overseas business. I met David Foster again at a business convention. No, to be exact, it was at the entrance of the convention. David Foster was holding on to a wealthy woman who weighed at least 200 pounds. He looked gaunt, as if someone had sucked out all his energy. The moment he stepped through the door, someone punched him to the ground. "You shameless gigolo! How dare you touch my wife? I had people investigate you a long time ago. You were entangled with your sister-in-law, drowning in debt, and then you switched countless sugar daddies in the past 2 years." The man kicked him hard and then whined to the wealthy woman, "Honey, this kind of man is filthy. Who knows if he has any diseases? Get him out of here." The wealthy woman frowned, and immediately security guards stepped forward and forcibly dragged David Foster away. Soon after, the sound of fists and kicks came from not far away. "You son of a bitch, what kind of trash dares to get close to our boss? You have a death wish. I think you're looking for death." The cursing was accompanied by the man's painful cries for help. The wealthy woman smiled contentedly, looked up and saw me. She immediately wiped her hands and said flatteringly, "It's Ms. Smith. Nice to meet you. I'm the head of Company A. We just bid on one of your company's projects and would like to ask for your guidance." I didn't shake her outstretched hands, but nodded and smiled. "You're too kind. The banquet is about to start. Let's go in." The banquet hall was filled with clinking glasses and friendly chatter. Outside, in a dark, deserted corner, David Foster watched from afar, tears of regret streaming down his face. "It was my fault.